Good evening. Highly suspicious or just highly tragic? Those are the two very conflicting sides of the coin in tonight's mystery. A beloved woman mysteriously found dead in her bedroom. Was it an accident or something more sinister? Her family wants to know because they have sneaking suspicions.
Her autopsy includes 4 key words: manner of death, undetermined. So remember, as you watch, no charges, no arrest, just what he says versus what they say. But after the possible clues Jim Avila has sorted through, what would you say?
Down around Mobile, Alabama, near the Gulf of Mexico, a short drive takes you through Loxley, once a sleepy lumber town, today famous for absolutely nothing. But now, on a street called Camelot, in a house that here passes for a castle, there is no bright, shining moment, just a dark mystery of sudden, unexplained death.
This interview is with Michael
Wohlschlaeger, the husband who is not a suspect.
This is in reference to Mr. Wohlschlaeger's wife.
The wife who died suddenly.
Do you know the cause of death?
But was not murdered.
Do you remember her falling?
Unless she was.
As she falls back, she's going to strike the floor pretty hard.
What do you think really happened, Chester?
Man, I hate to say this. I think someone murdered my sister.
Shirley Seitz fell for Dr. Mike Wohlschlaeger. Fell hard and fell fast. How do you do to I do in 3 months flat? But Shirley wasn't his first bride, or his second, or his third, or even fourth. Shirley was number 5. Some with tales to tell about their marriage to Mike, and more importantly, how their marriages ended. To be fair, this was wedding number 5 for Shirley, too. And up in northern Alabama, Shirley's family, the Thomases, wanted to be happy for her, but they could not.
I didn't like him at all. I just have to admit that.
Me being a minister, I said to her, "Are you sure?"
Shirley's daughter Sharon was ready to throw something, and it wasn't rice.
Please don't do this, Mama. Don't do this. Please, Mom, don't do this.
Whatever their worries about her latest trip to the altar, Shirley's family is more than proud of her higher calling. She was an evangelist in search of a flock, preaching the Bible, spreading the gospel, and singing it too. That's her voice soaring on a recording of her favorite hymn, Amazing Grace.
Giving, constantly giving.
On this trip, I have learned some of the best organic food there is to eat.
She walk into Burger King and the waitress say, "That's a pretty necklace." She pull it off, "Well, here it is."
She was the type of person that just gave herself away. We believe in that. That's part of our faith, and Shirley was that type of person.
Shirley prayed with Dr. Mike the first time they met. He worked much of his life as a chiropractor, adjusting grateful patients' backs in the nearby Florida Panhandle. Known affectionately as Dr. Michael, he was a prominent member of the medical community, smiling handsomely in healthcare ads in the newspaper and online. But money trouble plagued the chiropractor like a crooked spine, and his financial problems troubled Shirley's family because one of her husbands, Gene Seitz, had died and left her with his name and a hefty inheritance, $1 million.
Were you worried about her money?
Yes, I was worried about her money. He come into her life with the clothes on his back, and he's a doctor. He doesn't have a home, Mama. Well, he's in transition. He doesn't have a job, Mama. Well, he's a chiropractor. He's going to get a job in Alabama.
He come into the marriage with a wore-out pickup truck and a bunch of debt.
Her engagement ring from Dr. Mike, the wedding rings, the house they lived in, that first big purchase together. The family says Shirley paid it all. Mike seemed to appreciate it. Women from their church later said Michael was a wonderful husband to Shirley.
Anything in the world Shirley told him to do, he'd jump up and do it, you know, but who wouldn't?
Because he knew his bud was being budded?
Yeah. You said that, I didn't.
Love, marriage, and pushing the grandkids' baby carriage. Shirley's family made room for Big Mike. And even the doubting Thomases could not guess, for better or for worse, was about to get a whole lot worse. 4 years into the marriage, something is wrong with Shirley. Months later, in a recorded interview obtained by 2020, Dr. Michael would tell investigators Shirley had been ill for weeks, food poisoning, thyroid problems, and to cap it off, a stubborn migraine headache.
She gets bad migraines maybe 2 or 3 times a year that last 3, sometimes 4 days.
Shirley's little brother, Ricky Thomas, her closest sibling, who had even grown to like Mike, speaks to her on the phone.
And I said, hey, what's going on with you, girl? And she said, I'm just not well. Just pray for me. She was so out of it, she just didn't even want to talk to me.
Shirley's mom, Myrtle, and her brother, Junior Thomas, drive 5 hours south to the house on Camelot to see what was what.
I said, come to the door and let us in. She said, I can't get up. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I feel so bad I can't get up.
The family says they'd never seen Shirley like this.
She had a terrible headache. She was really sick.
The family says Mike tells them Shirley might have fallen down these stairs a few days earlier while he was away, knocking down a potted plant. He later tells investigators, too.
I sat here with her mother and asked her, baby, do you remember falling down those steps because that plant was knocked over? And she almost got irritatedly mad at me. And she said, I did not fall.
Myrtle and Mike nurse Shirley through the weekend. They try to get her to go to the doctor, but Shirley keeps putting it off. Mike gives her migraine medicine. It seems to do a world of good. And by Sunday night, Shirley is even sitting up, eating, and talking.
I said, now, Shirley Faye, you better lay down and go to sleep. We don't want that to start back again. And that's the last words I ever said to her.
The next morning, Mike, who said he had been spending his nights on the couch and checking on Shirley through the night, goes into the bedroom once again.
And she wasn't responsive. So I walked over and I turned on the light, and her lips were already blue.
Mike yells for Myrtle.
She's not breathing. Call 911.
Steve Brannon is a former FBI agent, now a private investigator hired by the Thomas family. He showed us around the house on Camelot.
So when Myrtle gets in here, what does she see?
She sees Shirley on the floor by the bed.
On the ground?
On the ground, and Michael beginning CPR.
Myrtle knows it's too late.
And I said, Mike, Shirley's already gone.
Shirley is dead.
Precious. She was precious. If I can be a third of the woman that she was, I'm blessed. I loved her. She was my best friend, Jim.
And she didn't deserve what happened to her.
At the hospital where Shirley is pronounced dead, a distraught Dr. Mike demands answers.
First thing Mike said, I'll never forget it. He said, well, I want an autopsy.
Mike says he was desperate to know whether he could have prevented Shirley's death.
I said, I'm trying to get a handle on what's going on, because not only have I lost my wife, but now I don't know whether I could have saved her if I could have gotten her to the doctor.
And things are about to get worse for the grieving widower, because as they begin to settle the estate, Shirley's family turns on him. Chester is sorting through Shirley's fortune, what's left of it.
What happened to her finances?
He soaked her dry. I don't know other way to put it.
Still ahead, Dr. Mike gets his answers. An autopsy reveals the cause of death, and it was no migraine. But was it the other M word? Stay with us.